right, welcome everyone. Uh, and particularly for those of you who are new, um, please feel free to say hello in the chat. Hey, okay. I see someone from Chile. Welcome. I just assume if you're new that maybe you've caught one of the videos on the YouTube channel of practice. I forget that that's public, and so that helps me feel better about giving a disclaimer, being which something's going to happen, and I'm not sure what is going to happen yet. But the more I talk, the closer I get to an outline. New York, yes. So, yep, I'm Lama Rod. I use he, him pronouns. I'm here on Muskogee Creek and Cherokee land here in Atlanta. And it's so happy, it's so wonderful to be with you all. I know probably I may be seeing some of you this week, possibly in New York and Massachusetts, um, and maybe after that in Durham as well, and with Adrian Marie Brown, and after that Southern Dharma. So good for you if you're near some of those places. Okay. And thank you all, thank you to those of you who dropped into some of the programs this week. The Matara program, as well as for those of you in Love and Rage. Thank you for popping into that as well. And any other program I've done in the past week. I just forget. It's so many things. I do so many podcasts, and you record them, and then they suddenly appear a month after you recorded them, and then you forgot that you recorded it to begin with. So it's just a blur of programs and everything. But yeah, so good to see everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying the book as well, if you've gotten it. Thank you. So for those of you who are, I know some of you are teaching some of this material, Seven Homecomings, using the book already in some of your work. So thank you for that. That's really wonderful. There's a Kagyu Buddhist here, yeah. Wonderful. I have a special letter to the Kamapa at the end of New Saints, which I'm sure the whole lineage is thrilled about. Not just the lineage, the whole school is probably raving about it in this very moment. So I want to have I do want to have some space for questions at the end as well. Um, So definitely, if there are questions, I'm gonna start practice and try to end it. And we're gonna be through definitely by 8:30 today, tonight or evening, wherever we are in the world. Yep. Well, with the Karmapa, someone had to do it. You know, I'm tired of people talking to me about it. It's like, you know, someone has to say something. When anything is done out of real love for people, it's a different experience, right? Um, and you have to, I know it's easy for those of us who've had direct relationships with, real masters or gurus or, realized lamas. I think it's hard for us to remember that they're human as well, and we forget how to talk to their humanity because we're so seduced by the wisdom aspect of their showing up. Um, but I think it's necessary for us to remember the humanity of teachers and and so forth, right? But it takes remembering our own humanity, and remembering that we have agency. We have agency, and we have to have agency actually to do the work of liberation. Like we just can't fall into the lap of the teacher, and the teacher just whisks us off to the state of freedom, right? Again, freedom and liberation is something that we consent to because we have to do the work. We're inspired, we're guided, we're supported by Sangha and teachers, but we have to choose to do the real hard work, right? Of, developing care, compassion, and wisdom and clarity, right? Right. And it's important that we kind of evolve, and mature around our understanding of enlightenment. Enlightenment doesn't equal perfection. I think that's something that we have to like do some more work around. You know, this reality is much more complex than that. You know, you may realize the nature of everything, but you're still in it. You know, I mean, I may realize that like, what's a good analogy? Like, I may be rolling in shit for most of my life, and then all of a sudden I wake up and say, "Oh, I don't need to be rolling in this." But when you wake up, you're still covered in shit. you know, like that doesn't just disappear. But at least right, that you've been rolling in it, right? That was a good one. I like that one. I'll remember that one. I'll save this for the next letter in the next book to another teacher. Okay, so let's actually get started. Let's move into this. I think everyone who's going to be here tonight is here, right? So, yes, there's a lot going on. And my intention, as always, for practice is to help us cultivate some space, some fluidity, movement, right? And getting into to a point, um, where we feel as if our capacity to hold space for much more is is activated, right? Of course, the more space we begin to open up to, the more we're invited to be in a relationship to the brokenheartedness of everything. Just like we were doing in Matara on Saturday, you know, evoking the mother in order to remember that space is always present, right? Even if we're tuned into it or not. And it's the awakening or the reattunement to space that actually helps us to feel resourced enough to move out into the world and to do the work that we need to do to help, to support. It's the space that keeps us from feeling as if we're being consumed or overwhelmed. When you feel consumed by the suffering or the chaos, then there's really not much you can do except react. And that reactivity often can lead to more harm. You know? And this is actually the subject matter for my next book as well that we're working on, which won't necessarily, I won't give it away. It's a book, but not quite a book. It's a hybrid of something that I'm working on with a friend. So you'll learn more about it whenever. There's a lot of stuff that's about to roll out that I think you're going to be a little surprised, to hear about. A graphic novel is close. I tell you what, that's real close. It's real graphic. Yeah. So consumption, consuming, and of course this teaching comes from Majaya Satyabhagavati, but she got this teaching from another teacher as well. So I'm excited to trace the evolution of this teaching of consumption, of consuming the chaos. You know. But let's get settled. I just want to invite you to first, just allowing um, our bodies to come into a position that feels appropriate for about 40 minutes of practice, 50 minutes of practice perhaps. Yeah, Kali Puja. Oof, love Kali. But don't get me started. This isn't Kali practice. This is medicine Buddha practice. But oh my Kali. I'll tell you what, at the end of practice, I'll show you something very special that I have on an altar right here. But again, just allowing our bodies to come into a position that feels really supported. If you want to use the word comfortable, if that's something that feels good for you, go ahead and do that. But sometimes I call this like the approach part of practice, like I'm getting ready to move into formal practice, right? And of course, in the tradition, Tantra, in Buddhist Tantra, there are three parts to practice, right? And quite creatively, they're called the beginning, middle, and the end. I'm sure there's a Tibetan word for these, but I have forgotten those. So you have to just take this. You die-hard Tibetan Buddhists, get over it. But this is the approach even before I get to the first part of our practice, which is settling, offering permission to our bodies to be. Because the physical body is part of this process of awakening, of liberation. And as I talk about New Saints, with my body, I had to learn to disrupt the judgment of my body, you know, and that the practice, the most liberatory practice, is just allowing our bodies to be as it is in this moment. And we often call that natural body because that's what's happening with the body in this second, in this moment. And for those of you who've been practicing with me for a bit, particularly with Medicine Buddha, I wonder if you can sense the energy or the presence of Medicine Buddha, even before we begin. And what is that? What is your experience of Medicine Buddha as we begin? And if this is your first time doing this, no problem. I'm just offering this kind of inquiry practice for those of you who've been doing this for a bit. Because when we because when we allow our bodies to settle, to come into a position for practice, that is actually an invitation for the deity, right, to emerge. It's like we can only begin to enter into this door um, of establishing a relationship with the deity through settling, relaxing, opening. And there's no specific thing or sensation or experience that's universal for everyone, coming into the practice. We all come into this very differently, particularly coming into relationship with the deity in the early stages of practice. And in a really simple way, and this is for everyone, regardless of your experience with practice, in a really simple way, you just invite Medicine Buddha to awaken within the space around you or perhaps inside of you. And we'll begin, to actually deepen this part of the practice. We'll actually go right into the opening mantra, Umila Sange Kino Soha, which will be in the chat box. So Medicine Buddha, please think of me. Please look upon me. Please remember me. So we use the energy of this mantra to invite Medicine Buddha to be present. So we'll, as we often do, begin with chanting and then go into the mantra 3 times. And then we end with And so we'll begin, and let's inhale together and exhale, just one round. Then we'll inhale again and then go right into Om. Inhaling. Om. Om La Sange Kino So Om Manla Sange Kino So Om Manla Sange Kino So And so what feels different now? And just taking a few moments to explore, get curious. But what feels as if it's shifted or has changed? Yeah. And some of you are having strong experiences. Absolutely. And it's okay if you're not either. So, as I've often said, it took me years before I had anything, any experience at all outside of being bored with the practicing, you know? But something was working. So regardless of if we're connected or feel something, there's deep transformation happening. And I'm completely 100% positive about that. And this can be the hardest part of practice. And I think this can be a very long stage of practice, which is practicing and not feeling as if anything is happening. And that's a hard stage to to endure. But we're going to continue. And I just want to bring your attention into longing, into desire, which we all have plenty of. This is why we're here in the human realm. And connecting to this energy of longing, right? The things that we want, the things that we need. And this can even be what we need for others, how we need and want others to be free from suffering, to be safe, to be well, healthy. And allowing yourself to ease into this longing we have for people to be free from suffering. And it's not just people, of course, but it's everything needs to be free. Not just sentient beings and animals, but plants and the earth and natural world. All phenomena needs to be freed from both our individual and collective misunderstanding of what they are. And to free everything from our misunderstanding or ignorance is to remember that all phenomena, including our minds, our bodies, everything, is an expression of space, emptiness, and energy or energy potential. So the deepest longing, the most authentic longing, is for everything to be freed from our misunderstanding. When everything is freed, we're freed. And vice versa, when we're freed, everything else is freed, at least from our own misconceptions. And if you're struggling with the longing piece here, connecting to the energy of longing, which feels like attachment, fixation, frustration, maybe for some of us. And then in that experience, offering this thought, and may all beings get free. May everything be freed. And linking the thought that everything must be freed with this energy of longing, and just seeing if that longing begins to be channeled through this thought of how everything must be free. And even in my practice right now, there are these strong experiences, energies of heartbreak, which is like despair or frustration or just deep disappointment for me. And even through this, I am moving or channeling this energy of longing through and into this thought that everything must be free. And the heartbreak can become a part of this experience, part of like a way that the longing is fueled. Because you begin to connect to the consequences of what it means not to be free, and what it means for all phenomena not to be free as well. When we're not free, then there's all this space for suffering to happen. And when you're ready, I just invite us to go a little deeper. And I invite you to bring your attention to your heart center, just right in the middle of the chest here. And if you would like, you can bring, just a hand up to the heart center if that feels stabilizing for you. It does for me, so this is why I do it. And I have this somatic memory, which I've shared before, of being little and being in the car with my mother. And every time we came to a sharp stop, she would just swing her arm around and put me close to the seat like this. And she still does, which means that she's not a great driver. But so when I pull my hand up to my chest, I remember like the love of my mother in a moment. She felt as if we could be in danger or if I could be in danger. So, so again, all of our bodies, all of our experiences are very different. This is just mine. So when we bring our attention to the heart center, I invite you to imagine that the longing that we experience begins to concentrate into the heart center. So in a way, it's an energetic heartbreak that some of us may experience. But we're not going to stay here long. We're moving through it. And so here, again, we're going to chant this opening mantra from Medicine Buddha again. Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha, feeling and connecting to the resonance, the vibrations right in the heart center, where this longing and maybe this heartache is awakening. And again, noticing shifts in energy and experience as we go through this. Okay. Beginning with Om and ending with Om again. Okay. Doing a full inhale and exhale to begin with. Inhaling again and beginning. Om. Om La Sangye Kino So Om La Sangye Kino So Om La Sangye Kino So Oh, just taking a few moments to settle. And if at any time you begin to feel maybe dysregulated or anxious or even lightheaded, always take care of yourself, and specifically, bringing attention to the seat, the weight of your body, the seat rising to hold you, taking a break, having some water, moving, doing some movement practice can really help to balance out some energies. So when you're ready, again, returning your attention back to the heart center and the longing or maybe the heartache that we're experiencing, I invite you to imagine that that energy of heartbreak or heartache begins to transform into white light. And that white light is gently, just very gently radiating from the heart center, from your heart center. And as we continue, I invite you to imagine that you're breathing into your heart center, breathing right into this experience of light. And always, just always as a reminder, you don't have to see anything or experience anything, right? But there is something happening, right? And for some of you, I know you're experiencing and seeing everything. So that's our extreme in our practice session, in our group tonight. No matter what your experience is, something is happening. But again, returning back to the breath, breathing into or inhaling into the heart center. And now on the next inhale, inhaling into the heart center. And then as we exhale, imagine that we're exhaling up through the head, through the neck, out the top of the head. And as we exhale out the top of our head, imagine that we're exhaling some of this light from the heart center into the space above our heads. Not too high, maybe a foot at most. But this energy of light carried by the out breath begins to accumulate like a cloud of light above our heads. And feeling as if, or just imagining that this cloud of light has formed above your head. I invite you to offer a prayer to this cloud of light. And this prayer is for our practice now. This prayer is your deepest wish for yourself and others around healing, your deepest prayer for healing. What do you need to experience for yourself? What are you hoping for others to experience in terms of healing and liberation and freedom? And offering that prayer directly to this cloud of light above your head. And as you're offering this prayer, or as you're finishing with the offering, we begin to imagine that this cloud of light responds to our deepest prayer, our longing for healing for ourselves and others. And this cloud begins to transform, to shape itself into an expression of Medicine Buddha. And again, the expression of Medicine Buddha that feels appropriate for you. And of course, that expression of Medicine Buddha can be this actual kind of traditional representation of Medicine Buddha. And again, just appearing on the top of your head like this. And as this expression of Medicine Buddha arises, and again, just intuitively allowing what feels appropriate to emerge as an expression of Medicine Buddha, as I often call the archetypal healer. And whoever or whatever appears above your head, we're imagining that they're just radiating this profound, lush, sweet light. And this radiance of light is the energy, the very experience of healing and freedom and liberation. And this light is radiating from the Medicine Buddha on the top of our heads out into the whole world. And as this light radiates out into the world, this blessing, this light of Medicine Buddha begins to heal everything, everything and everyone, healing them from all the causes and conditions of suffering, all the conditions of violence and domination and control, the roots of so much violence being overwhelming pain, overwhelming delusion, hate, and all the trauma that arises from these roots. All of this is being healed through the light of this Medicine Buddha that was evoked from our own longing and from our own heart center. And again, from the same expression of Medicine Buddha on the top of our heads, a stream of white light begins to slowly pour from the bottom of the Medicine Buddha, the top of our heads, down into our crown, and it begins to flow down into our bodies, first into our heart centers. And then as our heart centers are filled with this radiance of light and healing from Medicine Buddha, our heart centers begins to radiate this energy of light and healing throughout our whole bodies. So as Medicine Buddha is healing the world, Medicine Buddha is also working to heal us, because that is the profound level on which the Buddhas operate. And so slowly we begin to transition into our main mantra, because we have magically transitioned into the second part of our practice, which is the main practice. And of course, the mantras in the chat. Teata, Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Rasa Sumangate. So, all right. Om Teata, Bekenze, Ma Bekenze, Rasa Sumangate. So, Begenze, 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 Ranzo sumo te soa, Deanda Begenze, 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 Ranzo sumo te soa, Deanda Begenze, Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deanda Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deanda Begenze, 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 Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deada Begenze, 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 Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deada Begenze, Begenze, Maha Begenze, Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deada Begenze, 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 Ma Begenze, Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deada Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Rasa Sumugate Soa, Deada Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Rasa Sumugate Soa. Ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza 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 sumugate soa. Just turning our attention to our prayer requests. And we begin to invite again all the sources of refuge into this space so we can offer these prayers to them, and they can hold these prayers and work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers, so including all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Yidams, the Dharma protectors, all beings of light, all the protectors and elders and spirits of the phenomenal world, including the natural world and the elements, of all angels and all bodhisattvas, everyone who's here for the work of liberation and the disrupting of all the causes and conditions of suffering. We invite you to hold these prayers and to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers. We're offering prayers for everyone experiencing war and terror, especially the Palestinian people and the people of Israel, Ukraine, and the Republic of Congo, for everyone without shelter, offering prayers for bodies struggling under the burden of racism and internalized racism. May all beings receive these prayers of compassion and longing for liberation for all. Offering prayers for my loved ones, my sanghas, all those suffering, prayers for the religious institution I had to part ways with in the name of liberation, and prayers to all those who can't yet remember their freedom. Offering prayers for T's job interview this week. May her vocational journey lead her to a place where she is celebrated and not just tolerated. Offering prayers of gratitude for continued safety and resources for me and my little family. Offering prayers for M that she find the peace inside her to make her move. Offering prayers for A that he find a job that suits him. Offering prayers of gratitude for R for finding some new friends. Offering prayers for all my beloveds who are now feeling the systems leaving them high and dry after a lifetime of labor, that they have the supports to interrogate the systems and not themselves. Offering prayers for my brother Michael and my friend Richard, may they both find healing and freedom. Offering prayers of strength and protection for me and healing from an attachment. Offering prayers for myself and clarity around my vocation. And prayers for Sandy M., her son and mother, as she and they experience her rapidly unfolding dementia and possible cancer. Offering prayers for Betty G. as she continues to find new ways to care for herself and to hold her marvelous daughters through their ongoing joys and grief. Offering prayers for my mother, Nancy K., as she heals from a broken jaw. May she be nourished during this time and may blessings issue forth from this unexpected event. Offering prayers for all of my colleagues, students, and myself as we experience the beauty and pain of falling apart. May the heartbreak and pain bring light, and may we mend with gold the fragments of ourselves and our illusions about each other and this place. Offering prayers for myself and all in my community who will be a part of an upcoming delegation to El Salvador. May we remain healthy, be protected in our journeys, and may we experience the power of these pedagogies of the future. Offering prayers for the Palestinian people, for international leaders to speak up and end this violence. Prayers for Lebanon, Sudan, Congo, Yemen, and all those who have been and are currently oppressed and killed. May they experience peace. May peace enter the minds and hearts of oppressors. Prayers for the mindfulness community. May our ethics include standing against oppression. Offering prayer that I may keep my practice in mind during this bout of cancer and housing insecurity. Sohombu. Prayers for SM. May she know how deeply she deserves care, wellness, wholeness, love, and compassion. May she know forgiveness. May she experience relief from all the pain and hurt. Offering prayers for gender-expansive folks, Palestinians, people in the Republic of Congo, Yemen, and other people impacted by genocide, war, and violence. Also for my friend MG, who is recovering from COVID, and for my friends AA and HK, who are recovering from long COVID. Also for RR, who is struggling with depression and mental health issues. Also for R and other folks with chronic illness and disabilities. Offering prayers that Selma makes her way to the other side in peace. Prayers that I find a way to find freedom in the midst of a lot of pain. Offering prayers for all my beloveds, the invisible and the tangible. Offering prayers that the movement for liberation keeps growing. May the uncertain fence-sitters find their courage. May the committed fighters have the fortitude and endurance to keep going for all. Blessings for all those prayers for Luca, who recently transitioned after illness from Alzheimer's. For myself to remember that Mother Earth always holds us. Offering prayers for the children and all who love them. Prayers for our fam, cat fam, Alf, who transitioned Friday. May he rest in peace and love. Prayers for everyone in my tea group for their healing strength, allowing safety and good lives filled with love and freedom. For me, that I can relax, offering prayers for me that I can relax my mind, my heart, and my self absorption. Offering prayers for Trevor that his depression lifts, that he knows his beauty and value. Offering prayers for Richard that he finds meaning in his retirement. Offering prayers for the leaders of all factions involved in the Gaza war, that they have clarity of mind and empathy in their hearts. Offering prayers for my beloved, may they know how loved they are, may they receive that love. And offering prayers that I'm able to listen and follow my intuition and live as my authentic self in beloved community. Blessings for all those with aching hearts around the holidays. Prayers for Zell, Nia, and myself in our journey in finding land to call home. May all beings have the joy of family, community, and belonging. Prayers for my heart to expand with generosity, even as our family's financial resources are reduced. May we feel spaciousness for what is coming next. Offering prayers for some way to find improvement with my neuropathy balance, and knee pain, to deal with the anxiety that all these sensations create in my nervous system. Deep prayers for those in Palestine, Israel, and all war zones, that everyone finally receives the resources they need to live and be free from terror and grief. Very hard to find, very hard to relax into feeling held with both the personal and external traumas, such as constant dread. Prayers for all my clients, students, and children, that they have all the support they need to feel held and supported for all their lives. Offering prayers for my grandma as she transitions. May she be free of suffering. Offering prayers that may all oppressed beings be safe, protected, and free. We're offering prayers for Pamela and her daughters and family. May they be free. May they be reunited. May Onyx keep the fires burning steadily. Offering prayers for Elizabeth recovering from giving birth to baby Stella, and for the rest of their family in this transition. Her husband David and their other two children, Leo and Esther, may they experience joy amidst the intense times and remember the love that surrounds their family. And offering prayers for Jean and Courtney, offering prayers that my service as a teacher and caregiver be to balanced with self-love and acceptance. Offering prayers for Patrick as he experiences a break in his treatment for cancer. May his happiness grow and may he keep learning about himself. Offering prayers for peace and prayers for learning how to live in independence and interdependence in abundance. Offering prayers for healing in the small old apartment building with clean air and loving kindness. Offering prayers for my brain and body, healing from chronic carbon monoxide carbon monoxide exposure as I may help others. Offering prayers for all the people in Gaza, for the land, for the water, for the animals, for all beings. Prayers for the children of Gaza, and especially for the children who have lost loved ones. Prayers for the NICU babies in Al Shifa and other hospitals under attack in Palestine. Prayers for Lama Rod to have love and joy and feel the gratitude for his work. Offering prayers for all those struggling with disabilities and chronic illness. Prayers for my ancestors. Prayers for all those suffering under oppression. Prayers for Lama Rod's long, easeful life. Prayers for all victims of genocide. Prayers that I may be a wise and compassionate psychedelic therapist. And I offer prayers for Leah's father who's beginning cancer treatment, and for the support and care of her mother. Offering prayers also for Stacy's healthy delivery of their new child. Offering deep prayers for my uncle, Donnell, still recovering from a difficult car accident. Offering prayers for all people struggling under systems of domination, violence, genocide, and war. May all beings be liberated from these systems. May a real abolitionist future awaken for all beings that will offer us all the support that we need to all get free from the causes and conditions of suffering. That we all get free as quickly as possible. Now just turning our attention back, just into our practice, continuing, deeply accepting this blessing from Medicine Buddha and allowing at the same time Medicine Buddha to continue to radiate through the entire world, freeing all beings from the causes and conditions of suffering. O te adaum begenze ma begenze rasa sumungate soa. 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 Te adaum begenze sumungate soa. Te ada begenze, 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 raza 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 sumungate and allowing the medicine Buddha above our head to radiate a final wave of blessing into the world. And allowing a final blessing of healing for us as well. And we turn our attention back to this medicine Buddha above our head and we thank them for their kindness, their care, their deep love for all beings. And we imagine that the medicine Buddha begins to dissolve into the same white light that they've been emanating. And we begin to imagine that light falling to us and resting right into our heart centers. Where medicine Buddha will always remain for us anytime we need them. And just returning our attention to the seats and just noticing the weight of our bodies and the seat rising to hold us. When we're ready, just bringing some movement back into our bodies. And then we'll transition into Shanti Deva's prayer to close out our session, which we'll recite 3 times together. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space, and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as the earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I always also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they all pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. All right. Thank you, everyone. And I'll just open up the space for just a couple of minutes of questions, and particularly questions from anyone who never asked a question as well. So go ahead and do that. You can put questions in the chat as well. So who's next? Who's first?
Karen Marie Sullivan, hello.
Hi there. Hi, Lama Rod. Thank
Hey.
you. Hey. Yeah, I have a question about the body in meditation. Maybe it's like a little group of questions, so forgive me. So before in meditation practice, which was the Thai tradition, they said that body pain, feeling of falling, numbness, all of that were distractions to the meditation itself. But in the winter, I experience a lot of body pain, and it doesn't even start until I start really going deep. Once I start really going deep and moving a lot of energy, I get a lot of body pain. And so I just have a question or any comments that you can make on body discomfort or movement, feelings of movement when you're meditating.
Mm-hmm. And some of, yeah, I think that's pretty common as well. Like the kinds of sensations, well, they feel like memories, like these kind of somatic memories. And I used to go through that too, as well, in certain practices. Um, and then, to the other question here too, just about the pain itself. And part of that too, in terms of like the sensitivity to pain, is also what begins to happen when our awareness begins to deepen. Our awareness becomes more and more refined the more we're practicing meditation. So it's like with our experiences, it's like a layer of an onion, and we're constantly pulling back these layers of experience, getting to these super subtle layers of experience, right? And each layer, of course, has different things that, different experiences that we're called to hold as well. And it's not, again, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just the energy and the memory that the body holds, itself. And it's always important to take care of ourselves, that we shouldn't necessarily feel as if we have to like just go right into pain and discomfort and just deal with it. Like what we're trying to do is offer everything space, even discomfort, even pain. And space allows us to maybe, change the channel if we need to, or to recognize that our direct experience of pain is maybe too much for us in the moment and that we have to kind of titrate, that or put up some type of barrier, which can be just thinking about something else. This is why I call changing the channel. It's like if this is too much, then I'm going to shift my attention to something else for a moment or however long I need to. And if that doesn't work, then I feel like I have the agency to seek other modalities of care and support, as I'm practicing in these deeper levels as well. Um, but for some of us too, on top of that, we're moving again so much energy, right? And when energy moves, like it may be that energy is kind of contained or stuck in some part of the body. And when that energy starts to move, some of us will actually experience physical discomfort, physical pain, you know. And again, it's not that anything is wrong, it's that energy is moving in a way that the physical body is trying to kind of like trying to hold or accommodate. Um, and that's okay. And the issue here, the issue that can arise is when the sensation becomes too much. And that's when we have to kind of break the meditation, break the practice, and do something else that feels a little more grounding and regulating as well. Um, but how is that helpful?
Yes, it is. I mean, then there's always just laying down to do it, right?
Oh yeah, you can do whatever.
Just taking a break.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Thank you so much.
yeah, yeah. To reiterate, do whatever you need to do. Lie down, stand up. You can be in the asana, anything. We're not so strict in this part of the lineage. Um, so I look at this question here. Questions. Do bodhisattvas have to wake up again when they get reborn to the earth realm? Well, well, when you talk about waking up, like I mean, like for instance, like if a bodhisattva, so a bodhisattva doesn't necessarily have to be enlightened to be a bodhisattva, but they should have some pretty high, realization. But yes, there is a reawakening process, and of course that's different for all beings. There is a story of oh, my goodness, I think it's the second, third Karmapa, an early Karmapa who was said to have never, um, who was said to be born awakened. So, which is to say that like this Karmapa never like fell asleep. That he maintained complete enlightenment and awakening through birth right into his life. So, but that's the only story I've heard about that. But yeah, there's a reawakening that I think that it has to happen even for enlightened beings. And of course, it's quick, you know. But still, there's some effort that has to go into. But like, still, bodhicitta is still really strong as well. So like, there's still a deep, deep sense of benefiting beings, even though the awakened part of bodhicitta maybe is still needing to be triggered in practice. So, um, and sometimes the Bodhisattva doesn't need to be awakened to do their work in this life as well. So all that's possible. Um, I have a question here, but it's a private question.
And someone else has their hand up too.
Okay, yeah. Whoever would like to come on and ask the question, go ahead and do so.
Go ahead.
Lama Rod, this is DP. It's good to see you and hear you. Hi, everyone. My name is DP. It's my first question. It
Oh,
happened. It happened. Uh, I'll be brief, which I'm not famous for, in 3 points of context. Um, it's a question about ancestors
uh-huh.
and healing. So I said I don't really fuck with the Gregorian, and I said that 2023 was the year that I would learn to pronounce the words healing and ancestors.
Mhm.
I think it was actually my birth year. I'm like 6 days into a new year. Tomorrow, my great grandfather's birthday, and there's a lot moving. Um, and I was in the presence of a very transformative person in my life who like kind of updated my prescriptions so that what had been like a word or an idea or like I'm not sure if this is for me all of a sudden was like, oh. And then I kind of circled back to the 7 homecomings training and this piece of discernment. And I think this is where the question mark comes for me because what I'm feeling and what I've been calling maybe a little, I don't want to say willy-nilly, but I've been feeling like a lot of their pain, especially on the paternal line.
Yeah.
And I'm like wanting to rush toward the ones that are most hurt.
Mhm.
And this discernment around what it means to have invited them all over and they're all here now.
Mhm.
And then, like, all right, well, you called us. And then to be like, wait, like get in line, who goes first?
Mhm.
So something about like how to begin, I would say refine, but that implies too much. Like this discernment around like calling on the healed ones and like how to like kind of, give a guest room to the ones who aren't quite
Yeah.
ready. And it's got
Yeah.
something with other stuff. And I'll rest there. Thank you.
You know what was really funny? I'm sorry, that question wasn't funny, but when you said ready, and it was like
Mm.
a little pause, and it sounded like Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada, like ready. Anyway, that's random, and that's not, part of this.
I'm
I'm just obsessed with that scene, and
gonna watch that movie now.
I'm like, oh my God, like,
Sorry.
I'm just okay, seriously. Okay. We all have this capacity to set the boundaries around ancestor practice and who's with us and who's not. And so you can absolutely ask your ancestors to organize amongst themselves. I would even assume that there are ancestors who are, yes, healed, who are strong, who are really clear and present. And I would ask them to take on, if they haven't already, to take on a little more responsibility in grounding and organizing the ancestors that you've called in, you know? So you don't have to do everything, you know? Ask for those ancestors who are ready to help to organize, to hold space, right? And to arrange the formation, the constellation of your ancestor realm in a way that feels appropriate for you or manageable for you. So not everyone gets to rush you, but there is an order, you know. Um, I have ancestors, I have like, I call them like chiefs or generals or whatever, they're leaders, right? And they take on the responsibility of like organizing and grounding my ancestral constellation so I can relate to them in a way that feels spacious and organized, you know. Again, you set the boundaries. What do you need? How do you need to work? Who do you need to see? there was a question to me in direct chat about someone passing on, a family member who recently passed on, who may want to come back as their ancestor, and that doesn't feel right for them. And you can say no.
Mm.
You know, you can say, you know what, we struggled in life, and I need a break. You know, and so set those perimeters and say, you know, we can't work together right now because I need time, you know, but let's figure out how to revisit this maybe in down the road, you know, if that feels appropriate to say, you know. Um, but set the guidelines for interaction. Like this is how I want to work. This is how I need all this to be set up. This is how you can contact me. This is how you can visit me, right? And so forth and so on. Like you have to get clear about this relationship. Ancestor work is like getting clear in any other kind of relationship. You know, the same rules apply here.
Don't text me.
Huh?
I said, don't text me.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
you
got
can, you know, you can channel spirits into your hands to do like kind of spirit writing, you know, which some people are really good at,
Uh-huh.
actually. But again, that's a boundary. It's like you're trying to communicate with me, okay, possess my hands, and that's it. You know, and you can go into like this kind of spacious free writing space, and see what kind of messages you get like that. Like get
Yeah,
creative.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can
I'm
have my hands, but you can't have anything else. Like that's a very appropriate boundary.
okay.
Hmm.
Glad you mentioned that. I'll say one other thing, which is they were flooding some whole situation the other day, and when I really concentrated in my hands, I was like, oh, so thanks for noting that.
Yeah.
Noted.
It may even be, you know, that they told me to tell you that. But anyway.
I think so.
So again, set the boundaries, right? If there are ancestors you don't want to deal with, you just say that clearly. I had a situation where I made a choice, and there are some ancestors who didn't like it, you know? And I was like, well, you could hit the road. I mean, like, this is honestly, I told them exactly that. I was like, you don't agree with this, but this is what I'm doing. So, like, you don't have to be here, right? Um, agency, you know. Um, yeah, it's so important, right? So, anyway, um, any resources? There's some questions about resources and ancestors. I have a whole chapter on ancestors and new saints. I'll just refer you there. Um, you know, calling guides in with your highest interest, who are healed, who are ready to work, is really great. You know, you don't, and particularly in Seven Homecomings practice, and that model of working with ancestors, we're only working with ancestors who are resourced in that particular practice. Like we're calling the circle in to support us, not for us to necessarily have to support others. You know, not that you can't do that in later stages where you've gotten enough support and now you can offer that back to ancestors and other beings who need that, but only when you feel resourced enough to do that. Um, Miranda Priestley, you know, um, okay, I think, let's see.
Lama Rod, I got a question, but I don't want to take space if there are others who are feeling a little bit shy and pensive, because I have asked questions in the past. So I'm
Okay,
going to pause.
okay. Uh, well, go ahead and ask. Yeah.
Okay, so I got a couple random questions. One is that I feel like my prayers are being answered for increased faith, and I think they're being answered in a way where all of my where I don't get little graces of just feeling taken care of as much. And I feel like some things I have gone to in the past are not there for me now. And, my root tradition is Catholic mysticism. So it's feeling very St. John of the Cross, like, and not this, and nope, not this, and nope, not this. And I spend a lot of time just really feeling kind of sick to my stomach. And I am enjoying my capacity to just keep going and have it not stop me and not be a deal breaker. But I guess I'm kind of wondering, do I just get much stronger I just grow my fortitude, right? It's not like I pass through this and then it gets easy. I just grow the fortitude because you keep saying, like, stop being surprised about how intense the work is. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to do a quick check.
Yeah. I would say even the word might be resilient. I think the resiliency is deepening,
Okay.
right? Spaciousness is deepening. You're not so hyper focused on the struggle or the discomfort of the work. You're not, it feels like you're intuitively understanding that the discomfort isn't a message to stop.
Right. And
You-
that was a huge discernment struggle for me. So I'm not, if I'm struggling, then I'm good, is kind of like where I'm landing.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and that all seems about right.
Okay. Thank you. And then my other two kind of random ones have to do with like the unseen world because I rely so much on the unseen world, but I'm also kind of scared about it because Catholicism just scared the pants off of me in general. Um, how do I still have, and I'll just ride with this if there's no clear answer, but I have trouble with, is it someone trying to tell me something or is it just my brain?
Oh.
And if
Hmm.
there are any go-tos for discernment, I'll take them, but if not, that's okay.
I mean, how much does it matter where the discernment is coming from,
It probably doesn't matter if I don't have to be frightened
right?
about some bad spirit
Right.
causing me trouble. I can just set a boundary and don't worry about it. Doesn't matter, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But that boundary, I know there's a question about boundaries. You can reassert boundaries as much as you feel you need to, you
Okay.
know. And always, these very basic prayers that you can offer, which is like, may only beings of light and love
Right.
approach
Okay.
me, stuff like that. Those are really powerful things just to articulate.
And then the last one's super fast. I have these little candles with the switch on the bottom so I can leave them outside and not start the house on fire as I put the offerings out. It goes out after 6 hours, but for days now, it'll just go out after a while, but then every morning it's on by itself. And then my husband turned 50. He had a rough night. He went upstairs. They were all on because I have six of them. And
Yeah.
I just want to know if you have intuition about if that's like some ancestor being friendly or if I just got some janky candles.
Well, male violent beings don't really fuck with candles. So, or light, so when light is extended is actually a positive sign, so like that's great, don't worry, you know. Um, in the tradition in the lineage, it was is always said that Dakinis love light, candles, Christmas lights, and so you draw lovers of light in this kind of really simple candle work, you know.
Well, the
Um,
candles are going on by themselves.
yeah, oh yeah, they want it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks for that, Lama Rod.
yeah,
You're the
it's not
best.
bad. Yeah, no, thank you all for your practice. Um, and question here, how can one be in the ancestral plane and also need to finish their karmic samsaric work. Yeah, well, this ancestral plane isn't a pure realm. Like the ancestral plane is just an extension of samsara. It's actually an extension, I would say, primarily of the human realm, because beings still take on human mentality and human forms in the spirit world. Well, beings who have come directly out of a human form usually take on a human form again in the spirit realm. But anyway, so the spirit world isn't this awakened place. It's still a transition realm where beings are still evolving and moving through their karmic stuff, and we're a part of that, right? So we have ancestors because we have unfinished karma that we're still working out. And so we are collaborating together in this relationship of ancestor practice to help each other work through our stuff. You know, they're helping us, we're helping them. Because as a embodied physical being, we have a much larger capacity to heal and to change and to transform, you know, than perhaps a disembodied or energetic being or a spirit. I'll just say that because so much work can be done with the physical body to get free, and the spirit world, it's a mental experience. So let's just say you've never practiced meditation and you're in the spirit world, right? And how intense that can be. I've worked with beings, you know, who it takes a minute, it takes a little bit of time for them to actually connect to their mental body or their energy body, you know. That's why meditation and deity practice and the way that we're doing it, it actually trains us to transition into the energy spirit world, right? The more you work with energy now, the more capacity you have to work with your energetic form as you transition as well. Um, and not to say there aren't really realized ancestors in the spirit realm, because there are, but they're not quite awakened, or they're choosing. They've awakened enough that they have agency to choose where they want to be to help. You know, this is all about agency, right? All about bodhicitta, agency, love, care. The more we're embodying these, the more agency we have to make choices about our path of liberation as we move forward. Um, you can get awakened in the spirit world. It's hard. You know, the Buddha always said that the human realm is the best place to get awakened. Right? So, and not that we don't have a plethora of material to use to get awakened. Um, is there one more question?
Yeah, quickly, if you don't mind, I'm
Uh-huh.
actually getting a Medicine Buddha transmission this weekend in Zurich. I was wondering if you had any advice.
Yeah, just open. Just like be receptive, be open. Who's the teacher doing it, if I can ask?
Lodro Rinpoche.
Lodro Rinpoche. Do I know Lodro Rinpoche?
Oh,
Uh,
Lama Rod. Lama Rod is Rachel. He's my teacher.
oh, that's Lama. I was gonna say I know someone.
You do?
Rachel recommended me
This
for the
is-
program a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago.
I know lots of Lama about Lodro Rinpoche. Then
Thank
yeah,
you.
just open. Just stay open. Like it's the same. This is the same thing that we're doing. Um, Yeah, I mean that's it. Like it feels like you have a lot of trust and faith in the practice. You're going through empowerment. Wonderful. And yeah, you know, trust the teacher, trust your practice, trust the experience, and you're fine. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, all right. Well, thank you all so much, and maybe I'll see some of you this week. I'll be traveling and doing events. I won't be here on Monday, so I will be just getting back from Kripalu. So I may see some of you at Kripalu this weekend. In any case, we have all the resources online and program and sessions and so forth, and we'll have a practice leader for next Monday this time. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your practice, and just keep relying on your practice on Medicine Buddha, on the communities that you're a part of as well. Just keep holding on, because we there's a lot there's a lot coming, but we're gonna manage. You know, don't worry, we're gonna manage it. We're gonna get through it. Okay.
Thank you.
It's not gonna be Mad Max future, But particularly wouldn't mind having like Tina Turner be the head of a city in the middle of the desert. But like anyway, but we don't need another hero.
Now that's boundary setting.
Wait, no.
We do not
Tina
need another.
Turner, hold the rest.
That was always the confusing thing about Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. I was like, should I want to be here or not? Because I'm feeling like this is working out for me. Oh, and prayers to Tina Turner. She continues her, movement through the spirit world. And yeah, may everyone who's entering into the spirit world have everything that they need to get free. Always. And may we have what we need when we enter into our own transition. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.